So at Atlas, again, we're going to define the purpose of your money. Every dollar will have an assigned purpose to it. The difference is when you deal with a lot of people in the annuity industry, and it's kind of embarrassing because it gives all of us a bad name, but you'll have some people who will try and get every dollar out of you to stick into an annuity, or you will come in to this realm with a dollar amount in mind, and let's just use $100,000 for a round number, and you'll find someone in the business, and you'll say, I want to put $100,000 in an annuity, and they'll just sell it to you. Well, that may or may not have solved the problem that we're looking to solve here. Okay, we want to define the purpose of your money, and that will help us from you overinsuring, putting too much in, or underinsuring, putting too little in. And pillar number 3 is the ongoing access to an expert. You really don't want to deal with just anyone when setting up a strategy like this. In fact, there's 4 people you're going to want to involve in your retirement strategy. And the 4 people you'll want to work with are, number 1, a safe money expert. Number 2, a risk money expert. Number 3, the tax expert. And number 4, an estate expert, i.e. An attorney for trust. Now, I know a lot about stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. I know a lot about taxes and estate planning, but I am not an expert. So you should never take my advice in those areas. The rules and the products change so often in these areas that you want someone who only deals in one of these 4 areas exclusively. And it's no different with annuities. There are too many products available for someone who just dabbles on the side with them to really get you into the best position. In fact, they could be downright harmful to the purpose of your money if you are placed in the wrong annuity. So just like you should never take my advice in the other 3 areas, you shouldn't take someone else's advice on annuities unless they deal with them exclusively. This is all I do. I am an expert in annuities. I'm a specialist. This is no different than as you age and you start seeing more medical specialists. You go to your primary doctor and you say, oh gosh, my knee or my hip it's just killing me. The doctor is going to send you to an orthopedist. He is going to send you to a specialist. This is no different. It's a different time in your life where you need more specialists to advise you in these areas. A general physician is not going to operate on your knee. So does it seem like a wise decision to let a general advisor tell you what to do in all these specialized areas of your money? Of course not. Another person you definitely want to avoid when it comes to annuities is what's known as a captive agent. A captive agent is someone who only represents several or maybe even only one annuity company. The downfall to this type of agent is that they will try to make your situation fit into their product to make the sale instead of finding the product that fits your situation. So without access to all of the products on the market, how can they offer you the best deal? Well, when you work with Atlas, I have access to all the companies available, and I will actually give you a print off of what's available on the market to verify we are getting the very best that is being offered right now. So you don't need to take my word for it. I'll actually prove it to you. And a perfect example of this is going to be our 4th case study here, which is Joe and Sharon. There's someone who just kind of blindly trusted their advisor, who was not an annuity expert. He was just a general advisor. Joe and Sharon are both 62 years old. They had the right idea and knew that they wanted a guaranteed income when they retired next year. Unfortunately, they spoke with their financial planner, who worked for a big brokerage house. If I said the name, you would know it. After their advisor tried to convince them that, just buying and holding their stocks and bonds, that's going to get them an average 5% return on their money. that would be sufficient enough. They stuck to their guns and basically demanded an annuity. Since their financial planner was not an annuity expert and he was a captive advisor, meaning he was limited to what he could offer them, he put a total of $200,000 into two separate variable annuities, one in each of their names. Now, if you do not know the dangers of variable annuities, or what I refer to as the wolf in sheep's clothing, just email me and I will send you a free copy of my variable annuity report. But basically, here's what their plan looked like because they did business with a captive agent who was not an annuity expert. So again, $200,000 in two separate variable annuities. Each annuity had a 5% roll-up, meaning next year when they turn the income on, the annuity would pay them as if they had $105,000 in the account. And at the age of 63, it had a 3.9% payout rate. So their worst case scenario for the income with this variable annuity was that each of them would receive a little over 4,000, so about 4,100 per year, or a total of 8,200 total. They had the following fees attached to it: mortality and expense fee 1.9%, income rider fee 1.5%, fund management fee 0.7%, and then an annual maintenance fee of $50. Now this is per year, all these percentages here. Because they said they did not want to lose any principal due to market losses, their advisor placed them in a bond fund. But can you lose money in bonds? Absolutely, you can lose money in bonds. So he did the exact opposite of what they wanted, but thought it would be okay since the rider would cover the income. So based on the fees, and let's say a generous return of 3.5% on the bonds, definitely not likely in the long term, the annuity would be totally depleted by age 84. Now, what's the problem with this choice? Besides the ridiculous fees of 4.1% per year, the income rider was only contracted for one person. That means when one of them passes away, the income disappears completely for the other spouse. That totally defeats the purpose of their money. Totally defeats the purpose of an annuity. So this is a terrible scenario. They confronted their advisor about the fees because he did not explain them appropriately, and his response was, I didn't know fees were important to you. So needless to say, that relationship ended right then and there. Okay, so it does no good to point all that out to them just to make them feel bad if there isn't a solution. So how did we fix this? Because they had just passed their free look period, they were subject to the surrender fees in the variable annuity. Now, to help minimize the damage, we allocated a separate $200,000 out of their assets to get them to the point that it would fill their income gap. So we took the $200,000 and placed it into a fixed indexed annuity with an income rider that had a 7% roll up and a 4.51% payout, meaning next year when they went to retire, they would have a total of $9,662 per year guaranteed for the rest of both of their lives, even if one passed away. So that comes out to an 18% increase in guaranteed income just for using the right product. And again, that will last for both of their lives, even if one of them passes away. Total expenses in the Atlas annuity, 1%. And that's just to guarantee the joint income rider. So now, in order to mitigate as much damage as possible, they had to make the decision to cancel the income rider, which saved them 1.5% in fees and dropped the total fees to 2.6%. Now, hopefully the bonds that were earning approximately 3.5% will continue to hold out for the next 2 years, and they can come out whole. But if for whatever reason, if the fund changes, they will move the money to a cash account with no fund fees to save the additional 0.7% and minimize the cost until they can move the money in 2 years with no surrender fees. And again, this is important. In Joe and Sharon's case, this is why it's so important to have ongoing access to an expert, because I will help them keep an eye on this other annuity. Now, I'm not licensed to advise them to move to different funds within that annuity because technically it's a securities product, but I can at least answer questions to help them understand what they're looking at. Now, if you've made it through the other 4 videos, this is the 5th video. I know this was a ton of information in a pretty short amount of time, kind of like drinking from a fire hose. And again, the reason I'm recording this series is for you to watch it as many times as you need to appreciate the concept. But I have a question for you. If you could get 20% more income without the risk of market losses, or if I could save you tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars over the next 20 to 30 years in management fees, is it a ridiculous idea to spend 20 minutes on the phone with me? No in-person meeting, no 3 or 5 step sales process or pressure of any kind, no opinions, no speculation, just verifiable truth and a simple overview to see if this could work for you. Because what we're going to do on that phone call, we're going to go over the 3 pillars to maximize your retirement. Again, growing and securing your wealth without risk of loss, defining the purpose of your money, and then ongoing access to an expert in the industry. And what will that process look like with me? Number 1, we're going to have a phone conversation. 2, I'm going to gather some information over the phone. 3, I'll design a strategy for you to make sure I can get you more than what you are getting or expected to get. Then we'll find a time to go through the information. We can do that through a screen share, or we can meet in person. Obviously, depending on where you are in the country, a screen share would be optimal, at least at first. But whatever you're most comfortable with, that's what we'll do. And you know what? You're either going to like it or you're not going to like it. You like it or you don't. So we'll either execute the plan, meaning we'll get started, or we'll execute the plan, meaning we'll kill it. So you have to understand that this will affect your retirement way more than it will affect mine. And then after that, we stay in touch as much as you want. Now, the majority of this will be on autopilot. So normally a quick phone call, maybe even once a year or so, is sufficient, but you will have my personal cell phone number and you can call me anytime. And I really want to thank everyone who's watching this. I know your time is valuable just like mine. So the next best step is to go to atlasannuity.com, and that will take you directly to my calendar page to book a time to have a short phone conversation. And I wish you all the best in your financial journey.